Welcome back. Basement Birds.
Yeah.
Episode number, I don't even know what. We're almost at 60, right?
We are. I think this may be 59, actually. Yeah, it's getting close. Let me...
Episode number
see if I can look
59.
real
You were
quick.
correct.
Really? Well, look at me. I should know
Yeah.
because I upload it every week. I need to look back every week and see what number it is. I really should know it better.
Well, episode 59.
Yeah.
How we doing today,
Pretty
Rito?
good. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. I will say one question about recent episodes. Did you like the title of the last episode? I thought it was pretty creative.
The Basement Floods.
The Basement Floods podcast. I thought that was good.
That was clever.
I thought that was good. It also feels like it has been forever since we recorded a podcast. I don't know why, but we did record last week. We put out an episode last week. It just feels like a long time between then and now. I don't know.
I know.
I don't know why it is. It just feels like longer than a week.
It's been a very long week. I feel like a lot has happened. This past weekend, and I'd like to.
The Pope died.
The Pope died today.
Yeah.
The day that we're recording this, Monday, 4/21. The day after 4/20.
Yeah.
The holiest day of the year.
Jesus died Friday, and he's back already.
Something like that. I don't know. Something about Swiss cheese being holy. Anyway, the Pope has since died. RIP. But
that was the most uninterested response you could have given to that.
No.
Pope has died. RIP.
I'm very interested in the process of. I'm very interested in the process of electing a new pope.
Yeah, the Conclave.
I don't know if
it's a movie.
I know. I have not. I want to watch the movie now.
Is it? It's on Peacock.
Is it on Peacock? I don't know.
I think so. Do you have Peacock?
I do.
That means
That's
that
how I
we
watched
have
WrestleMania
Peacock.
yesterday.
That's great.
That's how You have Xfinity, don't you?
Yeah. Does that come with Peacock?
My Xfinity does. That's how I have Peacock.
What?
Yeah. Maybe I think it's because when I upgraded it. But no, when we had TV, it came with it too. So you should look into that. You might have Peacock.
The only thing I saw was the thing. Oh, it's on Amazon Prime Video.
Oh.
Now I don't have.
Well, I have that too.
Oh,
so
it's available to rent on Apple. Great, I'll just rent it. I don't have Prime.
Well,
I'll just rent it. Great. I was disappointed that it was just on Peacock because I wanted to watch it, and I didn't want to watch it just on Peacock.
No. You should look and see if you have Peacock. That's a Xfinity.
How do I look at this?
Don't look right now. We've got more important thing. We were talking about the Pope right now. I've got a lot of Pope talks this morning.
Wait, this says I'm eligible for promotional pricing?
Which, I don't know.
Oh,
I have no idea.
What is this?
This is a revelation. For those of you, we're not sponsored by Xfinity, but...
gigabit or higher speed. Do you have gigabit speed?
We do, yes.
That's probably why. The only thing I have is that Xfinity Stream thing.
Oh,
which has a lot of B and C list movies on it. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think I'll need to upgrade to gig. No, I'm not going to do that. I don't even know how much Peacock is. Anyway, sorry. Keep talking. I'm going to look at this while you talk. I'll still be listening.
So, I'm not. Don't know that much about the Catholic Church, but I was very interested to learn about the process of electing a new pope. Now, we did do this, I believe, in 2013 was when Pope Francis was.
That sounds right.
I don't know what the word is. Not elected.
2013. I think it is elected. I think it is technically elected.
Okay. Well, when he became pope, that was 13 years ago. I believe is how long they said he was pope.
Yeah,
13 years.
2013. Yep. Who was pope before him?
I don't really remember. The guy who stepped down. He resigned, or he. That was I remember that was a big deal
Pope
when
Benedict,
that happened.
This would be the 16th.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other story to go along with that.
Yeah.
But so they get all the cardinals together. They go to Rome, and they shut them out from the outside world, which is interesting. And then it's very old school. Obviously, the Catholic Church has been around for a long time, so They vote 4 times a day, and if they vote, they need 2/3 majority. Yes, I was watching TikToks earlier, so I'm an expert now in the Catholic religion.
Yeah.
But they vote 4 times a day if they do not elect. If it's not elected, it's a very secretive process too, which I think is interesting. Everything's a big secret, so they close the door and apparently have some sort of conversation. And I mean, one assumes write it down, and you write it down on a piece of paper. They showed the piece of paper, and if 2/3 majority is not found, they burn the piece of paper. Black smoke comes out of a removable chimney. Did you know this? That
it's a removable chimney.
They do it in the Sistine Chapel, I believe, is where this happens.
Did see that.
But
what an incredible place to be for that.
It does not have a chimney.
Okay.
So they install a chimney just for this process, apparently.
Interesting. Can we talk about... Oh, wait, I just found something on Wikipedia. They disclosed the chemicals used to color the smoke.
Right.
The black smoke is used with potassium perchlorate, anthracene, and sulfur. The white smoke is made by potassium chlorate, lactase, and pine rosin. Interesting.
Right. So I think they've become a little bit more modern.
Sure.
With using those chemicals, because I think before there was a little bit of uncertainty as if the smoke was white or dark or black.
They had to, surefire sign that it was,
Oh yeah, and then it's a fast process. I mean, they vote, and then whoever's elected is probably one of the cardinals. It apparently can be any Catholic man who's under the age of 80 can be elected, but it will most likely be a cardinal who is in the room, who's doing one of the voting, who's voting.
Who's an archbishop, I guess, as well. Yeah, because because Pope Francis was the Archbishop of Buenos Aires.
Well, they don't have to be an archbishop necessarily, but
I guess
it could be any Catholic man.
Once you reach that level, like they're probably just looking at archbishops, I would imagine.
Every pope for like the past 700 years or something has been a cardinal at least.
Sure. Okay.
Like I'm saying, you don't. It could be any person who's Catholic, who's a man who's under the age of 80.
I also don't know the ranks of, the ranks in the Catholic Church.
I, by the way, am not an expert by any means. I know very little about the Catholic Church, but
can we backtrack,
I'm just trying to recall
and
what I saw this morning. So,
can we talk about how cool it would be, though, to do this in the Sistine Chapel with the incredible artwork in there? Like, that's insane.
Yes, absolutely. It's a beautiful place to do this in the closed-door meeting that they have.
Have you seen what the outside of the Sistine Chapel looks like?
Yeah, I mean, I saw like a 3D rendering earlier.
It's such a look at this area. I'm gonna try to send this in the chat. This will work. It's such an unremarkable looking building. And is that link gonna work? Nope, it sure isn't.
Here, I can copy paste it.
Yeah, is that gonna work?
Yeah.
Does that work?
Okay.
It's such an unremarkable looking building, and it's like connected to all these other ones. Like it's not this grand piece of architecture.
Building.
Yeah. I find that very interesting. Like you hear all about the inside of it, and no one talks about the outside. And the outside is just like, oh, here it is. Like it still looks cool, but it's not as like, I don't know. I feel like people think of like Notre Dame when they think of like what the outside of something like that would look like.
Yeah.
But like, that's not what it is.
It's not very grand.
No, not at all.
But anyway, once they decide who is going to be the Pope, they blow the white smoke out of the chimney, and then whoever is elected Pope literally just puts on the Pope the robes, and then is just immediately introduced to the people. I mean, it is like vote. All right, here's the vote. Boom. We're gonna just no prep. Whoever is elected is just immediately thrown out there.
When does he get his first ride in the Pope Mobile?
I don't know.
That's the real question.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Okay, I found the ranks of the Catholic Church. Okay, so in the Catholic Church, you have the Pope, leader of the Catholic Church. Okay, you have cardinals.
Thank you for that one.
You have cardinals, who are the leading bishops. Then you have archbishops. They oversee large areas of churches called archdioceses. Bishops are ministers who hold the full sacrament of holy orders. And then there's priests, deacons, and then the people.
The people.
So I guess most popes would be cardinals because they have ascended to the highest rank that is not the pope. You know?
But again, you do not have to go through all the ranks
to be the pope. It could, in theory, be anyone.
Yes.
You know? But the chances of it happening, slim to none, of course.
I think everyone for the past 700 years or something has been, or maybe if it was 400 years, has been a cardinal.
Yeah.
I believe Pope Francis, who just died, was the first pope from South America.
From the Americas in general, yeah.
Right. So that was kind of a bold choice. So it'll be interesting to see who is elected.
He was also the first Jesuit pope.
Yes.
And one of the more what you consider a more liberal pope in terms of some of his views. And I know that's a big talking point on if they're going to look for someone that is, a more conservative views, traditional views, or, someone leaning more towards where Pope Francis was, which is interesting to see as well.
Yeah, and I learned some more things about Pope Francis today. I didn't know he had part of his lung removed in his early 20s. Did you know this? And has kind of struggled with respiratory issues kind of his whole life.
Interesting.
And so when he had this respiratory infection, I think it was a bigger deal than maybe than was told. But,
sure. He still lived to be, 88?
He was, 86, I believe. 80-something.
So 88.
Yeah. So
I think I find it very interesting, too, how they take on a name, like a name when they become pope. Pope Francis' birth name was Jorge. Right.
And to go along with that, again, they don't know who's necessarily going to be elected. Obviously they're in the room. It's an anonymous vote, but whoever gets elected has to choose the name, right away. Has to choose the name. No long think about it. Once it's decided, white smoke goes up. You got to decide, and then you got to change, and you're out to see the people.
If you're a cardinal, high ranking in the Catholic Church, you're probably thinking oh man, I could be in the running. You think you have a short list of names that you're ready to, pull from, essentially. I don't know. I found it interesting. I watched a TikTok today that talked about how Pope Francis, when he was younger, was a bouncer.
Yep.
And he only entered the priesthood when he was in his 30s. So a little bit, I guess, all things considered, later in his life than some, which I never knew either.
Yeah, he it's interesting,
the whole process.
The whole process
is
is interesting.
Yeah. Yep.
And so there's been 200 and something popes so far.
Wow.
And so,
who was the first one?
That is a good question.
St. Peter, it says.
St. Peter. St. Peter the Apostle.
Well, that have been before the title of Pope was used, I imagine.
He was a disciple of Jesus Christ, recognized in the early Christian church as the leader of the 12 disciples.
Yeah, when did the term Pope start being used?
And by the Roman Catholic Church as the first of its unbroken succession of popes. So,
okay. He's the one that started it all.
That was, he died in 64 CE.
Term Pope first used? When did they decide to start calling them popes?
I don't know.
I'm not loading either. Come on.
So, interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Again, now that being a little older, I'm fascinated by the whole process. I'm looking forward to learning a thing or two. So
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel, but
no, I agree. I kind of, I mean, when Francis was elected Pope, we would have been, I would have been 14. You would have been what, 15?
I was in 8th grade. I graduated 8th grade in 2013. So
okay, so 14, somewhere around there. So we were, old enough to be cognizant of what was happening, obviously, and what was going on. But I feel like this is the first time in our lives that we actually get to be more in tune to the process and have a better understanding of what exactly is all happening, which I think is really interesting.
So, yeah. I'm also reading another fact. The church officially recognizes St. Peter, the first pope, as the longest-serving pope. He was served for 34 years.
That's really the only one?
According to... I don't know what that was. Nicole's throwing things around upstairs. But, yeah, relatively interesting, I would think.
Yeah, very.
But more interesting things. We were kind of got sidetracked there, but
we do.
It was a long week last week, a lot going on with Easter and all this stuff, but we had the flood, so we've
the
been
great
cleaning
flood.
out the basement, as you
on
can
the
see.
Subject of biblical events, the flood.
Right. You can see that the basement is still askew behind me.
Yeah.
With all of the items that are haphazardly thrown all over the place. So while I was cleaning out, I found some things, some toys, not toys, but like they're built. Like, you ever use Kinects?
Yeah.
Like Kinects.
I
haven't
thought of those in a while.
When I was in high school,
How do you spell those?
We used KNEX, I think. K''NEX. We used Kinects in my science class, and I remember that, and I'm still in contact with one of my teachers, and she's great. And so I texted her and was like, "Hey, do you need any of these?" And I hadn't talked to her in a while, and she was like, "Yeah, that'd be great." Okay, great. And the next day, some background to her family owns kind of like a bar restaurant kind of thing near my hometown.
Okay.
That we would frequent sometimes. And so I get a text the next day saying, "Hey, do you know this person?" It was a picture of the security camera. Then it was a person that I had known and that I knew, from just existing as a child. I knew a lot of people, and this would happen to be one of them. And so I was like, "Yeah, I know that person." And she's like, "Oh, well, this person happened to take something from the bar." Oh, okay. What did he take? And like the remote for the jukebox. I was like, that's a relatively interesting thing to take. But okay. And so I was like, do you want me to text him? And she was like, "Yeah, please, because we want it back, and otherwise we gotta file a police report." Okay, so I called him and I was like, hey, did you happen to walk out with this remote? And now, first of all, call me Sherlock Logan. Okay, I'm over here investigating crimes. I'm trying to bail people out here and trying to find where the case of the missing remote. You know what I mean? We don't know. We think this person happened to walk out with it. We don't know. I call this person, and this person immediately was like, "Yep, my friend took it. My friend has it." He was like, he didn't want to fess up that it was him, but he was like, immediately, "My friend has it. My friend has it. We're gonna." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Can you have them bring it back? Like, they want it back?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'll let them know. I'll let them know." Like, okay. And so I call the teacher then and was like, "Hey, yeah, the friend has it or whatever." And I said, just bring it back when you get a chance?" And she's like, "Oh, okay, good, because we first of all, we know he has it. We've got him, walking around the bar showing it off to people." I was like, "Okay, well, that's good." But then she's like, "Oh, well, make sure he brings it back and ask him to let you know when he's bringing it, so we can let the bartender know, and otherwise if we don't get it back, we got to file a police report." I'm like, "Okay, this seems a little intense for a remote, but okay." And then I sent a text and was like, "Hey, let me know. Again, we're just trying to avoid a police report, and just when you're going to bring it back, or when your friend's going to bring it back, And then I immediately get a text back. It's on its way back. It's on its way back. And then, 15 minutes later, I get a text from my teacher and said, "Oh, yeah, he brought it back and apologized." And, that prompted me to think, like, this is, first of all, a very strange experience, right? I'm over here solving crimes, getting in the middle of something that I shouldn't have to be getting in the middle of.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever broken the law that I can think of. I don't even speed. I don't speed. I stop at every stop sign, even if it's in a parking lot. And so I don't know. You probably, with all your crime, I'd ask you to share, but I feel like, there's so much crime over there.
Yeah.
You probably don't want to share any of it. That's okay. You know what? That's fine. I could see it in your eyes.
Sure.
So, I was glad that I could help out with location.
Yeah.
Of the remote, and that we could avoid a police report. So that was kind of an interesting, little brouhaha that I was involved in over the weekend. So that's kind of where we're at with that. I don't know if you've ever had to solve a crime before.
I don't think so. I try to keep myself out of it, which is good. But
I try and insert myself into every situation. So
yeah, it sounds like your dad.
I like getting involved in other people's problems. OPP.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
no, I really haven't had a scenario like that. But interesting. Good for you.
That's good. Yeah, I got my good
Crime
noodle
solver Logan.
badge. There
you go.
My good noodle star.
Yeah.
So,
you know what? I don't mean to go back to the subject of the Pope, but I just found this.
I could
really...
tell you weren't even paying. First of all,
I was
could see in your eyes you were not paying attention to anything
I was paying attention.
But
I was paying attention.
You know what? That's fine. Well, what do you want to say about the Pope?
Here's this really funny fact that I just found. It's called about how they used to verify the death of the Pope.
Oh, I was telling Nicole this earlier.
Okay.
I saw that where they have the hammer.
The Chamberlain calls out his baptismal name while hitting his face with a small silver hammer 3 times. And if there's no response, the Pope is dead. Now, supposedly that's not done anymore, because they said that John Paul II's death in 2005 was confirmed with an electrocardiogram, which is a little bit more technologically sound than a little silver hammer. But I just can imagine, 5 old white men in, cardinal robes just standing around, this dead guy, and they just have, I imagine that the hammer's, it's not tiny, but I just imagine it's really tiny hammer, and they're like, Francis.
But it's not Francis though. It's his bet.
Jorge.
Yeah.
I find that a very they call it the traditional method.
Yes. Yes.
Which I find very interesting. But there's also some other things that happens when the Pope dies. The Pope wears a ring as a part of his regalia. That is destroyed and buried with him.
Yes.
And they also dispose of all the dye that was used to make official seals and things like that for that Pope era, essentially.
Oh.
So they
I didn't know that. That's kind of interesting.
So they wipe the slate clean, essentially, which I find really interesting.
Yeah. No, that's
we're just
really
gonna,
interesting.
Yeah. What's it say again? Where was it? I don't know. I lost it. The hammer's no longer used, though. Oh, yeah. Before sealing the apartment, he breaks the ring and destroys the dies used to make the papal seal for letters. So I'm like, that's very interesting. And they're all buried with the Pope.
Interesting.
And then he lies in state at St. Peter's Basilica, and then there's a 9-day mourning period. And then the conclave, we have to wait 15 to 18 days for the conclave.
But then they said that the longest conclave took over 1,000 days. It took more than 3 years.
1,000 days.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It took more than 3 years.
Wow.
To figure out a new pope, and they essentially just have to keep going until they can all agree.
That's crazy.
You know?
They say that there's about a group of about 135 cardinals who are eligible to vote. Well, I guess when you think about it, you have
to be a cardinal and less than 80 to vote.
You need to get all the cardinals to the Vatican as well. You know, and these cardinals, like, cardinals are all over the world.
Correct. There's 3 in the city of Chicago. There's 3 in the Chicagoland area.
Yeah.
I know of.
So they all need to get to, they all need to get to the Vatican, which, making sure everyone's there, it can't be an easy task.
You
so
just I picture someone taking attendance.
Do you think they're like flying private, or are they, like, are they just flying economy on like, like United Airlines over to like, business or pleasure? Oh, business. What are you going for? Oh, I'm going to be in the papal conclave. Like.
Yeah. Maybe they have direct to Rome airlines, and they just fly a plane and pick everyone up.
I mean, they have the Pope
on the way.
So
there's a
lot of people. I'm looking at this list on Wikipedia for all the cardinals. There's a lot of guys that are ineligible just because of age.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Think about there's some guys that just turned 90 too. Like they just missed out, or they just turned 80, I should say. Just missed out. Wow. How old is the youngest one? How old is the oldest? The oldest one is 99 in Italy. Holy cow.
Yee.
And the youngest is 45.
Oh, wow.
Wow. I didn't think he'd be that young, but he became one in last year, it looks like.
Oh.
Wow. How interesting. Huh.
Well, you know what else is interesting is recently there was a Michigan man who escaped quicksand with no injuries.
I saw that one. That's a good one.
This is, first of all, I didn't know quicksand was like a real thing. I thought that was something that was just like in cartoons.
I knew it was a real thing, but I didn't know. I knew it wasn't as cartoony as it actually was.
They were this couple was in Traverse City, Michigan. This is odd news, by the way, in case you haven't figured that out. There was a couple in Traverse City who said they were searching for Leland blue stones at Reynolds Street Beach when one of them took a wrong step about 5 feet past the shoreline and sank into the sand. Oh, no. What may happen? If it was obviously unstable, we wouldn't have walked into it, his partner said, which obviously makes sense. It didn't look that bad. It just looked like wet sand by the time we were there. Most of it was firm enough to walk on. His immediate thought, though, when he stepped onto the sand was, oh, no, not this again. First of all, this isn't the first time this guy has dealt with something like this in the Great Lakes, which is really interesting. He said the first time he was able to escape his previous predicament by flopping down on his backside, but this situation was considerably more sticky. Take that one to the bank. My left leg, I couldn't move it, he said. It's like there was something holding it underground. Yeah, quicksand, my friend, quicksand. That's, interesting.
Yeah.
So they had to call 911. And,
oh, gosh.
It was really interesting. So the patch of quicksand was found to have been caused by a hydraulic dredge charged with removing about 60,000 cubic yards of sand from the harbor bottom for the Vans and Reynolds Street public beaches. So it looks like they were scooping out sand and putting it on the beach, and apparently caused some quicksand. So be careful. You're walking on the beach next time, getting caught in the rain, drinking pina coladas. You better be careful.
Yeah.
For quicksand, apparently.
Wow. I didn't even think it was a real thing. Look at that. It is. Well, that's crazy. Quicksand.
Cray.
That's one of those things, like, you grew up thinking, like, quicksand was going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Because you just see it in every movie, and you're like, it's not. So you're like, all right, guess quicksand is not nearly as big of a concern as I expected. But
yeah.
It is a big concern.
I don't. What?
What to do on Easter, okay? Easter traditions, they're all over. Egg hunts, the Easter bunny. Okay. Well, there was a place in Belgium, a brewery, that did something a little bit different. They swapped painted eggs for beer, and they did a beer hunt. This is the 5th year that's been happening. They had over 1,000 registered hunters, and they hid
1,000.
They hid 12,000 bottles of beer. And
what?
And they hid a special golden bottle, which earned its finder a prize of his weight in beer. So they had a chocolate egg hunt for children at noon, and the beer hunt commenced at 12:30, and then they had a barbecue at 1:30, allowing the hunters to relax and enjoy some of their collected beer bounty. And listen to this. This is the best part. A second round of the hunt is taking place Monday, so no one has found the gold bottle yet, it sounds like.
Oh, no.
Which is incredible. Someone's got to find it, right?
This is true, yeah.
Like, how incredible is that? But can you imagine 12,000 bottles? That is a lot of bottles.
I wonder what does it say what the area is of this search? Like, are they searching on like a football field or something? Or 1,000 people.
I'm not going to try to. It's the Awers Gardens. So this looks like a park of some sort.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little bit. It's like a garden, or I think what we would consider stateside is like a park. It's a big. It's a very open, greeny area. This is a park essentially that they're searching in. But oh my God, they just show people like having handfuls of bottles of beer. This is incredible, and this is a large area. This is crazy.
Well, evidently so. If they couldn't find the golden bottle,
wow, that's crazy. I feel like that could do numbers in the States.
Oh, absolutely. But I feel like Belgium, they don't mess around with their beer over there. They really
don't. They sure don't.
There's just beer and waffles for them there.
There was an event that we had at the ballpark recently that, it was hosted by an outside organization, but it was an adult egg hunt that had more adult prizes in it. That sounds bad, but like they were like booze, gift cards, or like they gave away like trips, or like there was a car up for grabs. Yeah, like there was like a trip to the Caribbean or something that was like up for grabs. So more like adult themed prizes, I should say.
And how did they work? Did they charge you to?
Yeah, you paid, I think it was like $20 to enter as a part of it. And they did it all in the outfield. So they put all the eggs in the outfield, and they had everyone line up on the warning track around the outfield. And I should add this part. They did it in the dark as well. So we counted down from 10, and at 10, the lights went out, and you had to use a flashlight to look for eggs.
And just in the outfield, though? I can't imagine that's too difficult.
No, it was remarkable. Like they weren't very hidden. It was just more of the it was more of the in the dark thing that made it difficult. But it was incredible. Pretty much all of the eggs were gone in, I don't know, 30 seconds.
10 seconds, yeah.
It was crazy. Yeah.
And did people actually win these trips, or is it like a?
Oh yeah, every egg got picked up, and they got like people won the trip. Like people won all these big prizes. It was remarkable.
How does that work? Is that like a sponsored thing, or like?
Yes. Oh yeah. They have sponsors and stuff that donate the prizes and things like that.
How many people were doing it?
Oh, they lined the whole outfield, probably 2 or 3 deep in some areas. So it was a fair amount of people.
Oh.
Yeah. It was a very good amount of people.
Did everyone get an egg or no?
Oh, yeah. Everyone gets an egg. Yeah, because they set up the eggs. Like, it takes them like an hour and a half to set up all the eggs. It was kind of crazy watching it. Yeah, a lot of eggs to be set up, but, good prizes, so.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, we had a Jesus hunt yesterday. That was the first ever Jesus hunt we did. My mom bought 25 miniature Jesuses.
Okay.
And she hid them around the basement. And I don't know why I was supposed to participate in this, but being the oldest of the cousins, but
there
I
you
was
go.
tasked with participating in the Find the Jesus, and whoever found the most Jesuses got a prize. So,
okay, who won the prize? Who found the most Jesuses?
I did not. I was. I only got the high Jesuses. So there was many more that were low. I got like
tall
the ones on the
Jesuses.
high shelf. Yeah. So that was an interesting
great.
Easter. But that egg hunt sounds way more fun.
Yeah, it was quite
Jesus.
remarkable. Yeah. Yeah, it was very interesting. That's for sure.
Well, a very religious episode of Basement Birds today.
Yeah.
Talked about the Pope. Talked about finding Jesus.
Now they need to find a new pope.
This is true. They
Jesus
will
has been
hopefully,
found. Now they need the pope.
Yeah. We'll follow that closely, which will be interesting. And while you're following that on social media, you can also follow the Basement Birds on all sorts of different social media platforms.
Yes. Instagram, Spotify, YouTube. I'm missing one.
Instagram,
TikTok.
Spotify, YouTube, TikTok.
At Basement Birds.
At Basement Birds.
Check us out.
And check us out. We'll give you updates. No, we won't. You can follow someone else for that.
Maybe we will next episode. Okay, let's take our predictions. By the time we record next episode, well, no, they won't have started.
No, they're not even going to be done morning by the next episode.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
So,
once the conclave starts, we should predict how long it will take them to decide the new pope. I think it will take them. How long did it take Francis? Like 5 days?
I don't know.
How long does it take?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Between 2 and 3 weeks. Okay.
I told you the longest one took over 1,000 days.
Yeah, I think it will take. 27 days.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my prediction.
Okay. Am I supposed to take the over or the under?
I think you should choose another prediction.
Can I choose one day?
Oh,
the Price is
first
Right?
day? That would be a line.
Well, I'll take.
Well,
under.
You're not crazy, though, because, to choose Pope Francis took just over 24 hours. The 5th ballot. That's all it took.
See, 4 votes a day.
Yeah, maybe my 27 days isn't.
I'll go with 4 days. 4 days.
4 days. Okay, there you go.
We'll go with 4.
There you go.
So, tune back in next week.
Yeah.
See how close we were. Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a blessed day.
See ya.
See ya. Later.